I'm Eleanor from the Vegan Society, and with me is Vegan Chef Day, and we're going to be making a festive main course recipe.
So the meal that we'll be making is aubergine meatballs with celeriac smash, epic sprouts and a rich red wine gravy. So let's get started first of all with the aubergine meatballs. So first of all we'll take one red onion and I'll finely chop it. And if at the same time you could do the mushrooms for me.
Yeah.
So if you just quarter them.
Okay.
Yeah, super simple.
I can do that.
So I've got my just finely sliced, roughly sliced onion. And you can do this with white onion if you prefer, but red onion gives it a nice sweet flavour. Add those to the pan. And whilst Eleanor is chopping those, I'll just quickly do the... Oh, you've finished.
I know. Model student.
We'll just roughly chop this as well. Actually, let's just add these to the pan. Okay. And we can just roughly cube the aubergine. And add that to the pan also. So that was 250 grams of mushrooms, and I tend to use the brown mushrooms rather than the white because they have a bit more flavour to them. And that was one smallish aubergine. That was at about 200 grams.
So it's not too precise then?
No, God no, absolutely. You know, food should be like this. You know, it doesn't need to be exact.
Yeah.
It will still be lovely as it is. So we'll just let this fry away for about 10 minutes. And I only added a little bit of oil to this. So I've got a jug of water here, and as it starts to stick to the bottom, I can just add splashes of water, and then the steam will help all of this cook as well. Okay, so as you can see, the mushroom, the onion and the aubergine are nice and soft now. So you have to make sure that that aubergine is lovely and soft and it isn't kind of chewy anymore.
And that took about 10-15 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah. And as I was frying it, I did add bits of water just to stop it sticking. You can add more oil, but you know, this makes it a bit healthier and it makes it less oily. So just adding splashes of water when it starts to stick to the pan.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Yeah. So now I'll pop it into a bowl. And I'm going to add to that 8 sage leaves, and I'll just roughly chop those up. And we'll add some walnuts as well. So we've just broken them up slightly, and we can pop those into there as well. And we'll blend that. So we'll add to that a cup of white cooked quinoa.
And how did you cook that?
So I put it in the same amount of water, and I just boiled it. That was it until it becomes very soft.
Okay.
So we'll add that to the mixture, and we'll add a little bit of salt as well.
A generous little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this will be quite flavoursome as well because, you know, you've got those lovely mushrooms in there, which are quite strong, and we've got the sage, but it does need a good pinch of salt because you've got the white quinoa in there, which doesn't really have that much of a flavour of its own. We'll allow this to cool so that then we can handle it and we can make it into balls. So now the mixture has cooled down slightly so we can handle it. And we're going to put them into a baking tray so they can bake. So would you be able to add some olive oil to the tray?
Just a drizzle.
Yeah, just a drizzle, not too much. It's just so that they don't stick to the bottom of the pan.
How's that?
Yeah, perfect. So we need to take a small handful, about that much, and make them into balls. So it's quite a sloppy mixture, so you can't form them into a ball any other way apart from doing this. So do you want to go have a go? Yeah. Okay.
So about that much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does take a few tries before you can do them really well. Oh no, you're a natural. So while these are baking in the oven, we'll get onto the other parts of this dish. So we'll start with the red wine gravy. So now we'll move on to making the rich red wine gravy. First of all, what we need to do is we need to fry the vegetables that we'll put in. So we're using 1 red onion, 1 stick of celery, and 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. So it depends on how much garlic you like in your food, but if you like a lot, then
I like a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't enough. So we'll start by frying those. So if you can finely slice that for me, the celery, and I'll finely slice this. And we don't need to be that exact on it, again, because we're going to be blending it anyway. Okay, so we'll just add some olive oil to the pan. And the pan is already nice and hot, so.
And does the celery go in at the same time?
Yeah, the celery can come in at the same time. So if you want to bring that over here and just pop it into the pan. Okay, and while those are frying away, I'll finely slice the garlic. So I always let onion and celery start frying and sweating down first before I put in the garlic.
Because it risks it burning otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. So after a few minutes, the onions will start to fry and they'll start to become slightly translucent. So then we can add half a cup of red wine.
Did you have any trouble finding vegan red wine?
Well, I actually bought this red wine from a supermarket, and I did have to check the labels, and yeah. But nowadays you can find so many different types of red wine that is vegan, and it does actually say on the label.
Yeah, I think I've heard that the Co-op is quite good at that.
Yeah.
Labelling their wine.
Yeah. In fact, I think they were the first supermarket to do it, which was
thanks,
amazing. So we'll let that reduce slightly to about half of what it was. And that will give the gravy a really, really rich flavour. Okay, so now the red wine has reduced by about half. So we will add a 1/4 cup of red split lentils, and that will help it to thicken. We'll add 1.5 cups of water and 2 teaspoons of stock powder. And we won't add any salt at this point. I'm going to wait until it's cooked and it's blended, and then we can taste it and we can see if it needs any more salt, because we're already adding quite rich ingredients into there.
Yeah, there's salt in the stock powder, probably.
Absolutely, yeah, and we've got the wine, and then the onions are very flavoursome as well, so we'll wait and see if we need to add any more salt to that. So we'll allow that just to bubble away, and the red split lentils, they need to become completely soft. So that will be about 15-20 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to cook the celeriac smash, and for 2 people we'll need a celeriac that's around this size, which is a small to medium celeriac. So I will start off by heating the pan, and we'll get some oil in there, and if you can finely slice the garlic for me. So I say like 1 to 2 cloves of garlic, depending on how garlicky you like it. 2. Okay, and while you're doing that, I'll peel.
How would you describe the celeriac to someone who hasn't tried it before? Because it looks like a really alien potato to me.
It does look like quite an odd vegetable. It has a similar flavour to celery. So I would say if you're a real hater of celery, don't try celeriac.
Yeah.
I love it. It's quite fragrant as well, and it's a nice alternative to potato. You know, just to like normal mashed potato. It's a little bit fancy. Okay, how are you doing with that garlic?
Yep, I think I'm done.
Okay, so if you just want to pop it into the pan.
That pan.
Yep. And I will just roughly chop this. And just roughly chop it into chunks. Yeah, that's perfect. And now we're going to add some rosemary as well. So I'll finely chop. This is about 2 sprigs of rosemary. So if you pop the rosemary into there, and if you can just put the last of the celeriac in there for me. Thank you. And we'll just add enough water to just cover it. Okay, so we can just bring that to the boil and allow it to bubble away for maybe about 15-20 minutes until the celeriac is really nice and soft. That's fully cooked now, so we're just going to smash it. So when you smash celeriac, you're just roughly mashing it. So you want to still have some of those bits in there, so it's a bit chunky. Okay, so now with the gravy, the lentils have completely softened. So we can blend it now. Just pop it into our bowl. So we'll quickly give that a blend. So now we can make it as thick or as thin as we want to, because everybody's a bit personal with their own tastes on gravy and festive dinners. So if you want a thinner gravy, then you just add more water. So I'll add this back to the pan, and then we can just keep it warm whilst we finish off our dish with the sprouts. Okay, so now we're going to do the final part of the dish, which is what I call epic sprouts.
And what's epic about these sprouts?
Well, so many people, they have sprouts during the holiday season, and they're overcooked, they're overboiled, and they get that just disgusting flavour.
Yeah.
And nobody really likes them, but they have them anyway.
For tradition.
Yes,
We must have the horrible sprouts.
Yes, absolutely. But sprouts are just like any other vegetable. It depends on the way that you cook
Treat them right.
Exactly, exactly. So the trick with sprouts is to not overcook them. So we're going to very, very simply flash fry them. But what we need to do first is we need to take off the very end and just cut it in half. And then a few of those outer leaves, the darker green ones, will come off. And that's what we're left with. So if I can hand that over to you,
yep,
and you can get going on that. So I will grate some garlic, and again, it depends on how much garlic you like, and I know that you really like the garlic. So
I just like having bad breath.
So we'll put a few cloves of garlic in there, and I'm just going to very simply use a grater to grate them. Okay, so that's our garlic there, and we'll be using the zest of a lemon as well. Brussels sprouts actually works really, really well with lemon. Something about the flavour combination, it just kind of brings them to life
flavour.
a bit. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we'll be using the zest and also some of the juice. Okay, so now we can add the sprouts to the pan.
The epic sprouts.
The epic sprouts,
They're
yeah.
about to become epic sprouts.
So that's on quite a high heat because we are just going to very, very quickly flash fry them. I'm going to add some slivered almonds. Slivered almonds go really, really well with sprouts. And also it gives it another crunchy texture to it as well. And we'll add the garlic and the lemon zest can go in there. So another spoon. And I'll add a bit of salt into there. Okay, so we're just going to allow that to fry for a few minutes. And we need those almonds to brown and also the Brussels sprouts to brown a bit as well.
And then is that how you know that it's done?
Yeah, pretty much.
For just a few minutes?
Yeah, so you still want that bite to the Brussels sprouts, that crunchiness.
Yeah.
You don't want them to be mushy, so we're really trying not to overcook it.
Mushy sprouts does not sound attractive.
No, but that's what most people end up with on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. Okay, so now we can add some lemon juice. Okay, these are done. So now we can plate up the rest of our dish.
Okay.
And then, bon appetit. Okay, so now we're just going to leave these 3 dishes on a very low heat.
Keep them nice and hot.
Keep them nice and hot, yep, exactly, whilst we plate our meatballs. So these are the meatballs that were in the oven. They're nice and firm now.
These are an even number, so you don't need to worry about upsetting people.
Well, actually, when you're putting a plate together, it's better visually, apparently,
to have
an odd number. That's why I'm adding 5. Yeah. So we'll add those to our plate. Now the celeriac. The celeriac smash. And if you can add a bit of height to the plate, then that also makes it feel a bit more fancy. And the only way you can actually do that, really, is by using your other hand.
Okay.
You know, so you have to be...
It's allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As long as you've got clean hands, then it's absolutely fine. But getting height onto something like that is quite difficult, just with a spoon. So now we will add our lovely epic sprouts. They're nice and crunchy and they're really bright green.
It adds a really nice colour.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we don't want that kind of like pale wan green that you usually see with sprouts. We want this bright, lovely colour. And now for our red wine gravy. That's thickening up nicely. And I'll add it to our gravy boat. Okay, and now we can add just a little bit. Again, just enough. For the dish, and then we can just put this onto the table and people can help themselves to more. Okay, so there we have aubergine meatballs with celeriac smash, rich red wine gravy, and epic sprouts.
Thanks, Dane. That's really fantastic.
Well, thank you for having me. I just really hope that people can see from a recipe like this how easy it is to cook from scratch and how you can make wonderful, really healthy food very, very quickly, and it can actually be fun as well.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget you can go to www.vegansociety.com/join, sign up as a member and help to support our work.